right, this first question comes from Cinemartyr, who asks, Jake, what do you want from the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel? This is actually really good timing because the Cyberpunk sequel that we know is a thing, we know that CD Projekt Red is working on it, has been in the news recently, specifically because Mike Pondsmith, the guy behind the original tabletop game, the creator of Cyberpunk, he did go on record dropping a little tease saying that he's seen the new game and he has essentially seen a new location that we visit. In an interview with TVGRY, if I'm saying that right, he said, and I quote, "I spent a lot of time talking to the environment guys, and he was explaining the new place in Project Orion that we visit. I remember looking at it and going, yeah, I understand the feeling that you're going with for this, and this really does work. And it doesn't feel like Blade Runner. It feels more like Chicago gone wrong." That's not a lot to go on, but on the one hand, it sounds like, yes, we're visiting a new place. Is it going to be Night City and another city, or all set in a completely new city? No confirmation or anything like that yet, but I just like hearing that the original Cyberpunk guy sees what the developers are cooking and says, that seems cool. I like that. Chicago gone wrong could say a lot of things. If you're from Chicago, you probably have a lot of opinions about that. And with him saying specifically it's not like Blade Runner, I think that means it's something that you can expect that feels different from what we saw with Night City. With Night City, you know, obviously kind of having some Blade Runner inspiration. And that is interesting because you can argue Night City does have somewhat of a Blade Runner look. So I'm expecting whatever this place is to feel very different. And Chicago gone wrong can mean a lot of things. There are different areas of Chicago that have gone wrong, that haven't gone wrong. So what I just hear from this, and it answers this question, Cinemartyr's question, what I want to see is a different feeling city. Because gotta be honest, I'm just not really a West Coast guy. So to have a city that's at least somewhat East Coast adjacent, East Coast vibes, and I'm sorry, I know some Chicago fans are gonna be mad at me for calling it an East Coast city, but like, even though if it's technically not, it's got that flavor. It's cold. The food is shitty and good. You eat pizza, it kills you. You eat hot dogs, it kills you. You take the subway, there's elevated trains, there's that type of thing. The type of architecture, everything that comes with this style of city is something I'd want to see in a Cyberpunk game. It could be really, really cool. Especially if there's water running, like a river running through the main part of the city. Imagine like Cyberpunk boats. I don't know, why not? But what I really want to see from a Cyberpunk 2077 sequel is for it to obviously launch in a much cleaner state. That was such a pain in the ass with how rough that game dropped. But really what I want to see is third person. Could you imagine? Maybe like a first person, third person optional mode. I know that's like, you know, a heavy lift, but some games have it. I would just like to see that. I don't know. I want to run around. I want to see my character, but also that aside, like I liked first person, it's fine. But that aside, more car stuff. I like cars. I like weird cars. I like weird fucked up cars. So Cyberpunk, especially like its updates and stuff, we got more car stuff, but I would like them to just lean into that even more, like more customization, more variety, weirder shit. I don't know. That's what I want. More options and more things to do with the vehicles as well. More activities involving them. So yeah, long story short, I think a Chicago style city is cool. Third person, maybe, but also way more car stuff, way more car activities, stuff like that. Other than that, I'm just happy to let them do their thing. I don't know, surprise me. I don't make the games. You come to me, you surprise me, you know? And if you're new here, this is the Q&A video I usually do once a month. It's been a little while. Thanks for waiting. But essentially, people, any of you guys can drop questions in the comment section of this video, and then in the next Q&A video, I take from this comment section and answer anything you want me to talk about. Stuff I haven't mentioned, games I haven't mentioned, movies I haven't mentioned, life, whatever. Any questions at all, drop them down there below, like this quality question that comes from Hayashi Manabu, who asks, are you a Tifa or Aerith type of person? Tifa, 100%. I don't know what that says about me. I don't know what any of this says about anybody. You probably know what it says about me. Anyway, David Boss99 asks, I consider myself a basic gamer. I only really play Overwatch or Call of Duty, but for some reason, I rarely miss any Game Ranks or Jake Baldino videos. First of all, thank you. Do you have any other basic or even non-gamers in your audience? Absolutely. I think, like, don't sell yourself short. I think people don't realize how little video games they often play and how that's not that big of a deal. If you find a game you love it. But if you just like the rest of it, the gaming world, you're going to engage with it. I don't play I know people who don't play football, but they watch football all the time. They love learning about the players. I myself can ride a skateboard, but it only goes so far. I can't kickflip. I can't do anything else. I'm not in that culture, but I like watching skate videos. I've been engrossed in the skate stuff since I was a kid, playing the Tony Hawk and skateboarding games and stuff like that, So I get it. While you only play a couple of games, but you can watch a bunch of gaming stuff. It's how it goes. Also, in terms of casual or non-gamer audience, I hear it often. I hear this type of comment a lot where people are like, hey man, I barely play games, but I just like watching your stuff. And that's really nice. I just really appreciate that. It's crazy that anybody watches, and I'm just always so grateful for that. Also, in terms of casual shit, man, I know people call Fortnite casual, so I'm just, for the sake of argument, I'm gonna say it's a mainstream game that a lot of casual people tend to enjoy, right? GameRank's videos bomb that are Fortnite based. We had tried so many times to put out Fortnite videos to really kind of, see what's going, get part of that train going, but our audience just didn't vibe with it. So, and that was something we just did not expect at all. That was totally wild. And now, before we keep going, this video is brought to you by longtime sponsor Vessie. If you're new around here, look, I got a fresh pair right here, but Vessie offers fresh, dependable, comfortable footwear with a bunch of different varieties, shapes, styles, colors for every type of person, but they're 100% waterproof, just giving you a ton of versatility. You have the freedom to jump into puddles, get caught in the rain, get out in the mud. Vessie just makes it incredibly easy to pop these bad boys on and go. One of their staples at this point, one of their classics, if you like keeping it simple, is the weekend shoe. Look at this bad boy right here. Nice, slip-on, stretchy, but incredibly comfortable, most importantly, and lightweight. So for me personally, these are always at my back door, ready to go, and I'm going on a walk with the dog because we can go through the woods, we can go through the puddles in town, get caught in the rain, nothing really matters. But again, the fact that they're lightweight is huge. These are probably one of the lightest sneakers I've ever touched. Plus, I really just like a good slip-on, man. Just comfort in every step, truly. I know, it's really something as simple as just comfortable, waterproof footwear that can make your day a little easier without even thinking about it. So if you want to check these out, just click the link in the description down below or head to vessie.com/onjake to enjoy 15% off your first purchase at checkout. Stay comfy, stay dry. Once again, that's vessie.com/onjake. There's a QR code over here to get 15% off at checkout, and big thanks to Vessie for sponsoring these videos. Patrick Knight 8922 asks, hey Jake, non-gaming question for you. You have the tagline pizzas on me, but I've always wondered, seeing as you're a New Yorker, how often do you eat pizza? Are you a slice guy or a whole pizza guy? And what are your favorite pizza spots in New York? I've talked about my favorite pizza spots in other videos. I'll try and link that somewhere if I can find it, or I'll do a whole video on that. But I want to dive into the slice guy or whole pizza guy thing. What do you think I am? I am not eating a whole pie by myself. It's also something I don't know how it is in other places. Some places don't really have the places you can walk in and just get a slice for a couple of bucks, but we have that everywhere here. Everywhere. I don't even live in New York City. I live out in the suburbs kind of, and I can still just go 3 minutes and easily find a pretty decent slice for a couple of dollars. I can walk in, say, give me one, and walk out and slam it. And I do that pretty often. I think I eat pizza. I've been trying to take care of myself a little bit. So I probably eat pizza once every 2 weeks, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. But yeah, regular old cheese slice, what people call it. We call it a regular slice. It hits every time. But if we're talking crazy, Sicilian goes good. Grandma also is the unsung hero. Also, Detroit style is starting to make its way over to here, which is very interesting. And I kind of like it. It's got good crust. Also, if you want to piss off a New York person, if you want to piss off me specifically, when you talk about how I like pizza, don't bring up Dave Portnoy and that bullshit, because he's from Boston, and that's all I'll say. I've had decent pizza in Boston, okay? But let us have our thing. Josh Branton 4279 says, my question is, with the upcoming release of South of Midnight, so this is an older question, showcasing mythology from the Creole Deep South, are there any other pantheons or mythologies you'd love to see explored in other video games? As much as I love them, I feel like we've been beat to death with Greek and Norse mythology. Yes, my answer is pretty basic, pretty predictable, and you might say, that's around, but when you look, not recently, Egypt. More stuff in Egyptian mythology, ancient Egypt, Egyptian history, all that shit. could really hit. The last big mainstream thing was Assassin's Creed Origins. And other than that, you know, like there was a time, at least with me growing up, where like there was a fascination with Egyptian mythology, right? Like kids loved dinosaurs, kids loved space, kids loved pharaohs and tombs and mummies. And we don't really get a lot of that nowadays. So I would love to see more of that. Nicholas Nolan asks, if Konami decided they were going to make a new Metal Gear, what advice would you give them as far as story direction, gameplay, and how to make one without Kojima? So your question does say, have I talked about that? I have talked about this before, pretty in depth, but long story short, for people that miss it, I don't really think the story needs to continue. I think something that like won't, like, I very much feel like these games, if it's not Yoji Shinkawa and Hideo Kojima, it's tough, man. It's just not really what I'm interested in. But what I can say is that get a young, hungry, excited, passionate team to fill in the blanks, or get, you know, a side Snake mission, or better yet, a way to remake the original Metal Gear games. Metal Gear 1 remade, not Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear 1 remade. I think like that's fine. I would be open to a different team touching that, getting their hands on it, and giving us essentially a new Snake adventure that people haven't experienced, but in a way that doesn't really fuck with what Hideo Kojima and all of his teams have created. With gameplay, you ask, go back to linear or double down on the well-received base management semi-open world thing. The base management, I could take it or leave it, you know, building a shell. It's like a story thing more than anything, but I love the open world kind of open mission stuff. It was the best stealth gameplay the series has really had. But I just tend to like more linear, story-based, straightforward games. So, yeah. Specifically, like Metal Gear Solid 1, how tightly designed it was, all the levels, all the puzzles, how it all intersected. It was like this incredible Rubik's Cube of game design. I like that more than a big world to wander around, go figure it out, have fun. I like that sometimes, but with Metal Gear, I want a handcrafted, tight thing. Sam D 2013 says, which Indiana Jones movie do you like more, Crystal Skull or Dial of Destiny, and why? Am I really going to say this out loud? This is going to sound crazy, but Crystal Skull. Hear me out. Crystal Skull had a lot of really fun, inspired action sequences that were distinctly Spielbergian, even if it was at his shittiest and the story was dumb and it felt like Han Solo, excuse me. Jeez, it got Star Wars in it. Harrison Ford kind of half-assed some of it. I don't know. I just liked its adventurous pacing, and I didn't like how kind of down in the dumps Dial of Destiny was. I think Dial of Destiny, from a filmmaking craft, is better made, better structured, better looking, but it just didn't really do it. I saw it and immediately forgot about most of it, other than, you should have stayed out of Poland. That line goes so fucking hard. I love that. But the rest of the movie was like, okay, whatever. He's old and sad. It sucks. Obviously, like, where it ends up, I don't want to spoil it, but like where it ends up is interesting. It almost feels like it would happen in an Indiana Jones video game, which I respect. But just in terms of like which one actually left a little bit of a trace in my brain, it was Crystal Skull. Maybe because it's so bad, it's so good, whatever. I don't care. But that motorcycle scene with Mutt, just actually some really incredible action stuff. I don't know. Don't come to me for this, because I also like Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. So, and I get a lot of shit for that. So anyway. Ooh, here's a good one. Brandon Dunn says, question for you. I know you primarily game on PC, as you've mentioned. Why do a lot of your videos have controller inputs? I go for my keyboard whenever possible. Yes, I play primarily on PC, but it's a posture thing, man. I have a PC hooked up to a TV with a high refresh rate, so I can chill on the couch and have that console experience. I like, you know, I don't like it's just posture, really. I know it's like a bad excuse, but like, I'm here to have a good time. I'm not here to like pro precision. However, I do use a mouse and keyboard for specific things. I don't like RTSs or city building games with a controller. I've tried it. They've done a really good job mapping those style of games to controllers, but I can't stand it. So I use a keyboard and mouse for Civ, City Skylines, Frostpunk, that type of stuff. And then most recently in my Doom video, I think Doom must be played on a mouse and keyboard. It just feels like the gameplay design, everything just really, really lends itself to keyboard and mouse. So there. I also don't play a lot of multiplayer games. If I played more multiplayer games, yes, I would probably choose keyboard and mouse, because you'd have to keep up with the Joneses. But for me, I'm gaming, I'm chilling. I have no one to impress. So that's what I do. Also, when I'm capturing gameplay and I like to do smooth stuff and pans and stuff like that, I just personally find it a little easier with a controller. Also, I just want to say, like, some people, I think with the keyboard and mouse thing, like sometimes you see some people forcing keyboard and mouse into a game that really feels like it shouldn't be played with a keyboard and mouse. Like, don't force it. Just bust out a controller, you know? It's okay. Tim Sadai says, Jake, did you ever get into Project Zomboid? Oh, man. No, not at all. I say that politely. Have you ever seen a game where you look at it? Like, I did a lot of research for it. We've talked about it on Game Ranks quite a bit. Like, have you ever like looked at a game, seen the gameplay, and went, that is not for me right now? Like, you got to be in the mood for a game like that. It looks really intense, so I've kind of always bounced off of it, but maybe one day. Jason of Lane, if I'm saying that right, says, hey Jake, in your recent Q&A you said not to clear your throat after every take when you're filming, and wow, it helped. Just curious if you have any other tips for small creators that you wouldn't normally think of. Here's one that I think people don't normally think of, and it's just like, just do your own thing. Don't talk shit. Don't like fuck around with other people. Sorry for lack of a better phrase. I don't know. I just be normal. I don't know. I feel like in this day and age, there's so much mudslinging, and people love it. People love that, and they gobble it up, and then that generates more views. So people tend to just do that more and more. It's an easy temptation, and there's a lot of people I want to talk shit about, but you'll sleep better, honestly. On the flip side, though, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be social. Talk to people. Try and reach out to other creators you respect, you find interesting. Try and hit them up, DM them, email them, stuff like that. Sometimes it's hard to respond. I can't respond to everything I get, but I try. And yeah, I think making connections, learning from other people, talking, that type of stuff, it can go a long way. Railgun Raccoon Edits, big fan, says, question for the next video. Have you seen Daredevil Born Again yet? And what are your thoughts? I know NYC Marvel heroes are your jam, so I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Oh boy. So yeah, I haven't really talked about this show too much. I like it. I didn't love it. In terms of a show that kept me entertained week to week, I wanted to see what happened. It absolutely worked. But it's another thing where I keep coming back to in this video, like lasting impact on me. Didn't really do it. To me, only felt like it half justified its reasons for coming back. I also thought that Daredevil season 3 Netflix was one of the best things ever made. I've been banging that drum for a long time publicly. Like, I thought it felt kind of a little bit like a rehash in some ways, but also, so the problem is how the show was made. There was clearly a creative direction change and things were mishmash. So I'm really looking forward to season 2, but I don't know. In this one, I think the action, as much as they're trying to go for the Netflix thing, it still felt CG heavy. It's nice to see him fully use the Billy Club, but I don't know. It felt good. It felt interesting enough. Like, I do want to watch more. It wasn't the most compelling piece of television ever, but it did kind of make me feel like it was like a Daredevil comic. Like, it had all the elements, the drama, the fact that Matt Murdock messes around and has another girlfriend, and Muse, who was criminally underutilized here, but at least was cool when he was on screen. Kingpin stuff, that's interesting. The deconstruction of Kingpin, I didn't know how much I really needed something like that, but I'm kind of like spitballing here. I don't know. But Vincent D'Onofrio, the mayor, that type of thing is interesting. Also, James Gandolfini's son, I thought also had a really interesting role. Ben Urich's niece here, I think, also had a really interesting role. The fact that they took a little time to like actually spend a little time on the city and do those vignettes of like people on the street, I think is cool. I think that actual New York element could really help with these types of things. I really think it could potentially be way stronger for season 2, just overall, with a clear direction, top to bottom, clear story that isn't chopped up and changed halfway through. You can look up the development. It was kind of a mess for a while, but the Punisher stuff, I thought it was interesting that they actually tried to acknowledge the skull a little bit and the culture around the skull, but more than in the past, John Bernthal's Punisher here seemed extremely brutish and stupid. I do not like angry caveman Frank Castle. I like tactical, methodical Frank Castle. And the John Bernthal's Punisher in the past has kind of done a good job kind of tiptoeing between. But in this one, he kind of got himself in some dumb situations, unless that was his master plan. I don't know. But I still like him on screen, and I love Charlie Cox. Charlie Cox is still incredible. Charlie Cox also did an interview recently shit-talking the bank robbery episode. I get it because it was probably part of like the reshoots and the changing of everything, but like as a standalone episode, that to me felt the most like a comic book. Oh, today Matt Murdock goes to the bank to try and get a loan for, you know, his law firm, which, side note, the Human Torch has been denied a bank loan. Sorry, that's all I could think of with that. But yeah, I thought that was a really good self-contained episode. Just the concept. Matt Murdock goes to the bank gets robbed on St. Patrick's Day. Coolest New York shit. How does Matt Murdock, as blind guy with these heightened senses, listen to the bank robbers and mess around and ultimately get the upper hand? Really, really cool idea for an episode. I don't know. I really liked it. I stand by that. Even if it felt a little different from the rest of the episodes and just plopped right in, I get why that's off-putting, but as its own thing, love it. Sharif the Watcher says, hey Jake, I want to know what you liked about Secret Level. Any favorite episodes and least favorite? I actually was going to make a whole video on this, but then I kind of realized I was just going to be shit talking, and I didn't want to put like a negative thing out there. It's not that good. I liked some bits of it. I thought the Pac-Man one was pretty cool. I also thought the one based on New World with Arnold Schwarzenegger was really, really cool. Arnold Schwarzenegger was really phoning it in the voice department there, but I still really liked it. I thought it was sweet. It was heartfelt. It was beautiful. I thought it was really cool. But then I got really angry when I saw things like the last episode, the PlayStation themed episode. What a goddamn weird mess of a commercial that was. Also, the Sifu one really, really disappointed me because I was just like, this is 80 times worse than the game. Essentially, I'm only really highlighting the ones I liked. The Outer Worlds one was kind of cool. The Spelunky one was kind of interesting. The Mega Man one was like the ultimate tease. I thought that shit was incredible. By the end, I was like getting like blown away in my chair, and then it just ends. But cool. But like, again, like this whole project to me, still, ultimately, I kind of felt like, how was this necessary? But again, who knows? Season 2, like, I'd love to see them now continue to do another crack at this. Heard some interesting things behind the scenes about how the first season was made, in terms of like, you know, involvement of developers and stuff like that. And I'm hoping that season 2 can really just like learn from everything with the first ones and get cool properties and make real compelling, interesting, short things that don't just feel awkward or missing the point or just commercials, you know, somewhere like that in between. Anyway, that's enough. I've talked quite a bit. So thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me questions to just talk about stuff I normally wouldn't talk about. Again, if you want to ask me anything at all, I got to ramp these Q&As back up because it's been like 2 months since I've done one. Drop me some questions down there. I'd love to talk about more stuff I don't talk about in normal videos. So just hit me. I'll take these questions and I'll talk about them in the next video. But that's really it. Yeah, you know how it goes. I'm just talking about stuff I like, stuff I find interesting. And if you get that, if you get what I'm trying to put out there, clicking a like button helps me. I've said that forever, but really, thank you. That's it though. Search me on all the social medias at Jake Baldino if you want to yell at me directly. But that's it. Pizza's on me. Subscribe because video games. See ya.